on. Mike's got a great big Waterboy hat. Mike's got a great big Waterboy Macintosh. And that, said Mike, is that. And we got from the Waterboys to read for you now, before he plays, Mike Scott!
Hey, good evening. I'll be playing some music for you later. Right now I'm going to read to you from my book. My book, which came out a few weeks ago, is called Adventures of a Water Boy. And I have to set a little bit of scene for you. In the mid-1980s, in 1985, we had just made our third record, This Is the Sea. Thank you. And shortly after it came out, this happened. In London, I checked into a hotel in Bayswater and began to get ready for the next round of auditions and our subsequent European tour. Then I got a call from a lady called Ravina Cardiel, a tenacious and pretty American hustler who ran the London office of Geffen Records. She was buddies with Bob Dylan's girlfriend and rang to tell me Bob was in town and that, having heard and liked my song The Whole of the Moon, he was inviting me to join a recording session. I asked Ravina if I could bring my colleagues Steve Wickham and Andrew Thistlethwaite. The answer came back, yes. So on a bleak November afternoon, as the wind raced through the streets like a league of phantoms, the three of us jumped in a black cab with our instruments and headed up to North London. The studio was a converted church in Crouch End. We buzzed the doorbell, climbed a flight of stairs, emerging into what was once the vaulted nave of the church, now the studio's live room. At the far end was a row of soundproofing screens, and sticking up above one of them was a tousled head of curly hair. Yep, it was Bob. We walked round the screens into an enclosure filled with enough instruments for a large band, and in the middle, there he sat on his own. His face, so familiar from film and photograph, looked more Eastern in real life, as if Bob were an inscrutable Chinaman or a Zen master. He was dressed in jeans and red shirt with a blue scarf, and having shaken our hands, he seemed genuinely pleased to see us. He reverted to his afternoon's pursuit, playing ceaseless lead guitar, making burbling bluesy sounds with a Fender Strat. The rest of the band came out of a nearby control room and introduced themselves. The only ones I recognised were Clem Burke, the drummer from Blondie, and Dave Stewart of the Eurythmics, a gangly, nervous fellow who functioned as ringmaster, cajoling everyone along and suggesting each next musical activity. We found spaces to sit and joined in on what turned out to be a slow, sexy instrumental. To our disappointment, Bob didn't sing, just kept playing that burbling guitar, even in the breaks between takes. When we were all in the control room listening to the instrumental we'd recorded, except Bob, still in the studio playing guitar, Dave Stewart asked me, did I have any tunes that Bob could use for a new song? I scratched my head and went out to the piano. Bob stopped playing and came over. Several tunes flashed through my mind, but I had them all earmarked for new Waterboys songs, and I wasn't giving them away, Dylan or no Dylan. Then I remembered one that didn't figure in my plans, a sort of reggae jazz number called Say You Will. Of all the songs I ever wrote, it was perhaps not the most auspicious one to play as a demo for Bob Dylan. I sang a verse or two, the band joined in, and Dylan played yet more burbling lead guitar. When the song finished, he walked over to me, put a gentle hand on my shoulder and said, "You can keep that one."
He'll be back, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Scott.